So yeah, y'all, I want to talk a little bit about something on my mind. I got a couple things to talk about here. First off, I do agree with a lot of people on the subject of right now in my life. I do. I'm not saying that I will change my mind or if I'm living a certain way and I have my own refuge to where things are the way that things are the best that they can be for myself. I'm pretty sure that I'm never going to have a kid. Right now, I am an antinatalist. And another thing that I think that should happen, even though animals are beautiful and nature is beautiful, and hearing the sound of a locust on a tree and seeing a bee flying around and touching a dog and playing with them. And, I'm not saying I don't like animals because I do. I like animals. I have a passion for damn near everything in this world. Not everything, but damn near everything. I have a passion for it. That's just how I am. I can't hate anything. But I really think that the way that nature is and how vicious nature is and the way that animals have to kill and eat each other every day and to keep doing this and doing this and doing this. See, we don't have to do that. We don't have to cannibalize ourselves. We don't have to do things that animals do. So that's why I hesitate to say mankind needs to go extinct. Even if it does, it's no big deal because if we're here, okay, let's make the best out of it while we're here and let's do what we can in the meantime. But if it happens, it happens. That's the will of the universe or God or whatever. And I'm going to get more into about what I think that the word God means for all of us. But yeah, I think that animals should go extinct. I do believe that because there's really no reason at all for animals. And the reason I say this is because animals are not artists. They're not really aware of things the same way we are. In certain ways, they are. In certain ways, they ain't. And I care. I care for things that feel. I care for things that uh, go through whatever they go through. And I think it's just animals need to go extinct. I'm not saying let's kill them out, let them die naturally, let them go. There's really no reason. Now I'm wrong. There is some reason for some animals to be here, like flies, because they break shit down. Mosquitoes, there's absolutely no reason for mosquitoes to be here. Elephants, I don't really know if there's any reason for them to be here. Cows, they provide milk, but besides that and their meat that we all eat, there's no reason for them to be here. We can survive without animal meat. We can eat vegetables, plants, medicinal things. There's no reason that we have to keep eating meat. And I feel like a hypocrite because I do eat meat once in a while, and every time I do it, it's a guilty pleasure of mine. And I hate to say that. I really hate to say that because it's actually horrible. It's actually horrible that I eat meat. I won't lie. But I do it once in a while. I don't eat meat hardly ever. It's once in a blue moon. And I call it my cheat day. But you know what? I shouldn't eat it at all, really. I mean, it's something else had to get killed for me to eat. So when I eat it, I'm highly appreciative. I'm very thankful that an animal had to die so that I could eat and fill my stomach, and it's a very ironic, violent, kind of unnecessary ignorance is bliss kind of thing, and I can't lie about it. So yeah, I just think that it's time for animals, most insects, but there needs to be some insects here to do some of the things that they do. There has to be flies in order to break down things. There has to be maggots and flies, even though they're kind of disgusting, maggots and flies. There has to be flies in order to break down stuff. And uh, in the ocean, there has to be these little microbes and other things to keep the ocean going. But the bigger animals, I know that they eat these things, but I know that the ecosystem kind of keeps things going, but in a way, I mean, if there was nothing in the ocean and there was no animals on land, I don't think there has to be animals here for the world to live. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong though. I didn't do too much research into that, but another thing I want to get into, yet again, I think that so many of us, we either take things literally or we take things metaphorically. And I think a lot of us, we still take a lot of things literally in this world. When you talk about God, all God is simply a reflection of yourself. God is how you see yourself. God is how you reflect back onto yourself. God is how you think of you and the world and things like that. And that's what God is. God made man in his image and his likeness. And the image is not the image of thought, but the image how we look and in his likeness. So that means that all that we're doing when we think of God is we're self-reflecting on ourself. Now, is there a God? Yet again, I don't know. The only way that I'll ever know if there's a God and God explains why all this is the way that it is and says, well, this is why that happened, I'm not going to know until God does that, if there is a God. And I'm not saying that there is or there isn't. I'm still an agnostic, but I'm leaning more towards that there is something that did this. And I say God. I say God. And I pray to the Trinity. I pray to the Godhead of the Trinity because there is a lot of qualities that I see in Jesus and the gospel. And it's not just the gospel. There's a lot of other things that I have learned and people I have listened to. But Jesus is a very important person, is a very important figure in my life. And when I pray to the Godhead of the Trinity, what I'm doing is I'm praying for myself. I'm self reflecting on me. I'm telling God, help me through the day. That means let me help myself through the day. Praying for things I'm thankful for: food, water, shelter, medication, my sink, my toilet, my bathroom, my toothbrush, my music gear, my writing, my art, my videos, my chair I sit in, my bed, my car, my mom, everything that helps me in this life, I'm thankful for, and I'm reflecting that back onto myself. Whether or not there's a God and we're taking it literally, I really think we're missing the point of what thinking of things metaphorically means, the metaphorical significance of symbols and symbolism and symbology. Symbols are not to be taken literally. It's the metaphor behind them. It's what it tells you metaphor wise. But yet so many of us, we are still taking these things literally to heart. And it's why we're when we reflect it in that way, that we're taking it so literally, all that it's doing is it's building this kind of thing up in us, because we're not using it as a metaphor to help us along in life. You see, we're getting stuck on the labels again. We're getting stuck on saying, well, it's this way because I say it's this way, and I'm stuck on that, and I'm going to keep thinking that way because I think it's that way. When all along it was just simply metaphors and parables that were attempting to tell you something about yourself so that you can learn for yourself, so that you can come to discern things that you don't need or you need in your life, or things that you want to keep in the back of your mind and remember what you went through, but at the same time, you want to keep at the forefront. Because the reason I do this channel, the reason I really do this channel is actually to allow us to be artists as people. That's what I'm actually doing this for, is to make you your own artist, that you can express yourself, that you can vent the things you need to vent, that however you feel, you can talk about it to somebody else. And if you don't understand something, then say you don't understand. If you're wrong, say you're wrong. But see, a lot of us were so in denial of that we don't have a problem. We're so in denial of thinking that we have this. And there's a lot of us. We don't want to live life. We're absolutely miserable. We have nothing to live for. We hate everything. And I just don't understand why people that are not getting enough serotonin, or they're not building enough endorphins, or there's some kind of mental problem, why they will not seek some kind of help for themselves, why they will not go to therapy or get on medication. We have one life to live. Why are you going to keep suffering with this thing? See, I'm not even going to lie. This is really starting to piss me off. And it's even some of the people I'm subscribed to, because I care for you and I. I actually do care for you and I. But this is starting to piss me off, because it's almost like the people don't want to change the way they think. They don't want to help themselves. They want to stay in their misery. They want to stay in that place so that they can blame everything else, so that they can say life is a problem and there's no solution. Everything's going to go to hell anyway, so why am I living? And it's this kind of victim mentality, this self-destructive mentality that I see people living with. And it pisses me off, because I see your reflection in myself, and I know that you see my reflection in yourself, and you don't like that. You don't like that. I don't like what I see in you, and you probably don't like what you see in me. But what the thing that you're missing with me, I already know what you're going through. I understand what you're going through. I understand what you're doing to yourself. I understand how when you, as a person, whoever it is that I need to be speaking to, when you say that things are wrong here, and it doesn't mean that you're having some kind of mental thing. No, that's just denial. That's denial. It's called denial. Yes, there's a lot of things that are wrong here, y'all. And I'm not just talking to one particular person. I'm talking to every one of us, because we are all in this same thing. We're all in this pot together. We are all in the stew, stewing up together, but we don't have to be boiling. We don't have to be stewing in the stew. We can turn the simmer off, and that means we can say, enough is enough of this. enough is enough of the way that I think. I'm going to get help for myself. Why don't we want to help ourselves? Why do we not want to help ourselves? And then I hear people always saying this. And when I tell you that I already know, I am not telling you that I'm better than you. I am not telling you that my shit doesn't stink sometimes. I am not telling you that I don't do things that I say, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't have did that. It's not too many things because I have learned from these things. I have already went through this. I'm 37 years old. And I have put myself through hell and high water to get to this point in my life where I can talk to you about this stuff. I've already been to the depths of the deepest rock bottoms that you can think of. I already been through drug addiction. I've already been through disease. I've already had people overdose and die in my family. I've already seen people hurt themselves. I've already seen and went through all these things. I've been there and done it. And if you're willing to listen, see, you can't be in denial for yourself. You got to be willing to listen to what someone like me is telling you, because there was a time that I had to listen and let my pride down. And I said, well, I'm not going to be in denial of this thing. You see, a lot of this is just denial. And we want to blame something right away. And this is what pisses me off about people, because they don't realize what they're doing to themselves. They just cannot see what they're doing to themselves. And then they go right back to, it's not our fault. It's not my fault that the world is the way that it is. I understand that there's a lot of things in the world that is wrong, but that's what makes it unique, because you have the ability to do the right thing. You have the ability to right the wrong in the meantime. We all know that we're all going to the grave. We already know that we're heading to death. But what if there is an eternity? What if there is something more? What if this just isn't what there is? It's like, what if the way that you're spending your life now, see the way I think in eternal ways. I think of ways of what if. What if? And look, when I'm telling people this, it's a mi casa su casa thing. I understand what people are saying. I understand. But we're not recognizing what we're really doing to ourselves. We are talking down upon ourselves every day. We will not help ourselves. We're causing most of these things that is happening with us to happen with us. And I'm gonna bring this up time to time, but frankly, I'm getting sick and tired of talking about it, because it's almost like, for a lot of people, they have to have something either really bad happen, or they got to be going through some terrible thing, or something absolutely off course from what they ever been through has to happen in order for them to change the way they think, or for them to see something in a different way. Because I know that I had to go through it. I know it had to happen for me. And look, that's what it might take for some of y'all. I don't know. I'm not God. I'm not a savior. I'm not a therapist, even though these are kind of like my own therapy sessions. I just see what you're doing to yourselves, and it isn't even that I'm mad at you. I'm mad at the way that people think about themselves. That's what I'm mad at. And then you go, oh, well, I have the right to think that way. Well, don't tell me how to think about my life. I'm not telling anybody what to think or how to do it, or whatever you're doing. You're probably going to keep doing what you're doing anyway, because you're terrified of change. You're terrified of change. You think that you have to hold up this image of negativity, or you have to say that everything is unfair, life sucks, I hate life, all of this stuff. That's because we keep telling ourselves this every day. And the energy you put out is the energy that you're going to keep getting back over and over and over and over. And I know people are getting sick of me saying this, but I'm going to keep talking about it because it's the only thing I know now. I can't allow myself to go back to that shithole mentality. I can't allow myself to go back to them depressions. I can't allow that to happen to myself. And I was allowing that to happen to myself. I was causing that for myself because I was telling myself that every day. And if nobody tells you, who else is going to tell you this stuff besides me? See, I know you might not like me and I might get on your nerves and I might offend you and all this, but guess what? Nobody else is going to tell you what I'm telling you on here because I actually do care for you. I actually do give a shit even though I can't live people's lives for them. And when I say you, I'm talking about everybody as a whole. I'm not just singling one person out, but it's an individual thing. It all comes down to an individual thing. And I'm not preaching to people. I'm telling you the way I'm living and the way that I'm doing things. And if it bothers you and it stirs you up, then that means it's actually doing something. Because it's always the art that people don't understand. It's always the art that people don't like, or the art that's different is the thing that revolutionizes something or changes something or brings about something different. When you're telling people shit they already know, and you keep telling people things that they're stuck in over and over again, you're just keeping them in that spot. And for some people, they need to be there. I'm not saying that some people don't need to stay in the situations they're in. There are some people that go to a food store and stock shelves and they're doing that job and they're content with that. That's where they need to be. They're needed there. And I'm thankful for people like that because they're providing a need. If there's somebody that lifts weights and he's in shape and he eats healthy, he eats fruits and vegetables every day, and that's how they live, great. Then they don't need to change. That's what they do. That's their passion. That's what they love. What is your passion? What do you love to do? What is something, what is going to give you that spark in the meantime in life? What is going to give you that spark? What is going to give us that spark? What is going to set the flame under our ass to say, okay, I'm sick and tired of this, so let me stop doing this. I see how this is. There's nothing I can do about it, so let me do something else or let me move on from it. It's just this stuck mentality that we keep getting into over and over again. And I know because it happens with me. My mind is continually trying to get me stuck again. It's trying to get me to go back to the old thoughts and the old ways of viewing things and telling myself that, everything sucks and what's the reason for this. And that's just how the mind is. It's we're automatically kind of negative. And to me, negativity is the easy thing to do. It's being evil is easy. Going out and hurting somebody is easy. That is a coward's way of doing things, in my opinion. There's no boldness. There's no even though you know that things are the way that they are, even though you know that things ain't fair, and you know that a lot of shit happens in this world, it's still this thing where you don't realize that you are the very essence of what is going on. God is simply your own reflection of yourself and the way that you see yourself. So if you see God a certain way, if you hate God, then you hate yourself. If you look at God like God's a bastard, then you probably think that you're a bastard. If you're looking at God a certain way, that's what you're projecting onto God, back onto yourself. It's just like the manner that you judge is the same that will be judged back onto you. And how can you take the speck out of your brother's eye when you haven't took the speck out of your own eye? And I have to look at my own speck all the time, because the speck is something that just doesn't go away. It's something that's there every day. And that's why I got to surrender myself unto myself and say, I'm not fighting with this shit. I give up. I give it all to you. I lay me down. I'm not fighting. I take all the unnecessary thoughts that I don't need, take all the things that I don't need right now, that there's no need for, and give me solitude, peace of mind, clarity. See, this is metaphorically reflecting, projecting on God what I'm self-reflecting back onto myself. But see, we literally take this religiously. We take it, we say, instead of looking at it as a metaphor, the act of doing it for ourselves, to understand ourselves, to, in order to live the best life that we can while we're here, instead of crushing and mutilating and looking down upon and self-destructing and catastrophizing and all these things we do. I know, because I did it so many times, and I could not break that cycle. I could not get out of that cycle for myself. And I know that I got so sick and tired of that cycle. I got so sick and tired of putting myself in that place. And I finally caught what I was doing. I finally seen what I was doing to myself. I finally caught wind that I was playing into the thought. I was giving it power. I was giving the thing power over myself, that was bringing me down and was doing all these things it was doing. And I wasn't surrendering unto everything. I wasn't surrendering unto the God of my consciousness, which is me reflecting onto myself. That's all that it is. God is self-image. That's how I see God, as self-image. Now, if there is some real God that actually does understand everything, something that is bigger than us, like I said, I don't know, but I would like to think that this is not me doing anything. There's something, the construct of me is dead. Everything else is doing something but me. The food I eat, the water I drink, the clothes I wear, the bed I lay in, the car I drive, the medication I take, the videos I make, the art I do. This is all doing something. I'm not doing anything. What is me? What is me? What is I? See, I see I and me as God or the universe or DNA or cells or molecules and all that stuff. And yes, does horrible things happen in life? Yes, men make the decision to do this. We have a free will that we have been given, and when we don't understand that free will, and we don't understand what discipline and self-dignity and well-being and health and refuge and art and things like that, when we're not resonating on that, then we're resonating on something else besides that. And that's the things we're thinking. That's the way we're living. That's what we're telling ourselves every day. And we're in a habit of this negative shit. It just keeps going and going and going and going. And then we don't want to help ourselves because we're scared to help ourselves. We're scared to get over our own fear. We're in denial of our own fear. We're in denial of getting help for ourselves. We're in denial that some things are wrong and we need help with some things, just like I do. See, the thing is, we're prideful. We're prideful men. We're egotistical, prideful men that we cannot get out of this thing where we can't admit that, okay, this is how this is, so something has to be done. I got to do something else. I can't keep doing this. It comes down to the discernment and all this stuff. And when you resonate on that kind of stuff, your life will start to change in the meantime before you die and all when you get older. That doesn't mean just because you get older that you're going to get sick and die horribly. It's different for every person. But then I know people go, oh, well, what about the person that gets cancer and dies? Most of the time, we gave ourselves the cancer. We gave ourselves the disease. We gave this shit to ourselves. I don't care what people think about it. If you're in denial of it, then you're in denial of that. And I'm not saying that happens for everybody, because it's not everybody. You see, this is the constant pendulum swinging back and forth, saying, okay, yeah, that's not fair, but you did that to yourself. Okay, yeah, I see, that's not fair, but you did that to yourself. Okay, I understand that's a bit cruel, but you had the decision to do this. See, you can't take a side. This cannot be about taking a sides with shit anymore. When you're taking a side of either positivity or negativity, or you're in the mind state of negativity or positivity, you're never going to actually confront everything that's going on with you and I as a person, because we're in the habit of being one way. We're in the habit of thinking one way, portraying ourselves one way, thinking that this thing is always like that when it's not always like that. And most of the shit that's happening to us, we're doing it to ourselves, whether we want to admit that, whether we're in denial. It doesn't matter. It's not up to me. It doesn't matter what Nate says about it. It's the facts of the situation. It's the facts that you don't take symbolism literally. It's metaphors. It's the fact that you don't take God so seriously. You take it as a metaphor to help you with yourself, to understand yourself, to get through life in the meantime. See, this all has to do with in the meantime. And all that I ever look forward to is right now, because that's all I will ever have is right now. I'm never going to have any other time in my life but right now. And see, it isn't that I hate talking like this, but in order to get through to some of us, it's going to take many, 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 many times of hearing something that you might not want to hear at that time. See, this is where there's not enough bold people in the realm of telling people how it really is, but yet going, okay, we know how it is, so what are we going to do about it now? What are we doing to change it? What is the action that we're going to take? Are we just going to stay stuck? Are we just going to stay in denial? Are we just going to keep not getting any kind of help for ourselves and keep telling ourselves the same stuff over and over again? That is insanity to do that. I understand some things are insane, but it's like that kind of insanity is an insanity where the person has an insane habit of doing these same things to themselves. And you're doing it to yourself. I'm doing it to myself when I do these things. And in order for us to see that, it's going to take somebody that's bold. It's going to take somebody that's been there before. It's going to take somebody that actually cares about themselves and others. It's going to take somebody that's not saying this to belittle anybody. I'm not putting anybody down. I'm not saying I'm better than anybody. It has nothing to do with me or I. It has to do with seeing the situation in the light and the dark. It has to do with seeing the situation for the left and the right, the up and the down, the sky and the ground, the hot and the cold. But no, we just want to be cold. Or, oh no, I would rather be hot. And then you ignore all the cold shit. And if you're cold, then you ignore all the hot shit. If you're up, then you say, oh, well, I can't ever remember none of this stuff when I was down. Oh, when I'm down, I'll never be up again. See, it's just this thing where stuck. We get stuck. Stuck. We keep getting stuck in our own stuckness in this life. And I refuse to get stuck. I refuse to get stuck again, because I know it's not healthy for me. I know there's nothing there. I know it's just a game of thought. I know that it's just lunacy. It's lunacy to keep doing that to myself, and I refuse to do it anymore. And the energy that I put out will come back to me. And I'm not putting out a certain kind of energy anymore because I got sick and tired of getting that energy back. Because that energy was not doing anything to help me. It was not doing anything to make me do anything for myself. All it was doing was getting me depressed, getting me suicidal, getting me messed up, getting me hating everything. Fuck that. I'm not living like that anymore. So it's up to you. It's up to you. It's in your hands. And see, I'm not going to tell anybody to do anything. Because if you tell people to do something, they won't do it. If you say don't do it, they will do it. That's just how our nature is. This is how this type of rebellion that I can't stand in myself and when I see it in other people, but there is a type of rebellion where you do not get stuck in these kinds of things that I'm talking about. And you make the decision that you're done doing that. Or you make the decision that this is something I have to do. It's the pendulum constantly swinging, and you never get stuck on either side. You're neutral in the game. A mind of neutrality is something that is so rare in this world. I can't find it in anybody. And I have only heard one person in the music realm, and it's somebody that I wouldn't have thought. But there's only one other guy in the music realm that actually understands how I see music and art too. And it's Rick Rubin, out of all people. Because I don't think Rick Rubin is a producer. I think Rick Rubin is somebody that channels in on the very being of who that person. No, he channels in on the very being of a person. And he goes with the flow. He lets it happen how it happens. He's in the moment of the moment. He's there. He's present. He's allowing the musicians and artists to do how they're doing what they're doing. He doesn't try to make it happen. He's not attempting to force it. He's not trying or going by some set thing, by some kind of repetitious thought pattern. It's like, let the music be. Michael Jackson said this. I know this is off topic, but Michael Jackson said, get out of the music's way. Let the music make itself. Don't try to make music. Experiment with it. Experiment because you want to do it. It's something that you want to do, and you do it. Right when you have someone in mind or you're trying to make it something, you've already killed it. Right when you're attempting to make it for some agenda or some people, or You're attempting to try to make it for something. You've already killed the art. You already killed the essence of letting it be. You've already destroyed the very thing of being in the moment and letting it happen how it happens. And that's what I do in every single video I do. And I know a lot of people might not understand it. It's okay that you don't understand it, but the thing is, are we willing to pick this up? Are we willing to resonate on that? Are we willing to think outside of the box of stuckness? Are we willing to do something different? Are we willing to go outside of the bounds of what we have been living with our whole lives and the things that we tell ourselves every day? Do we know how to change every day? Do we know how to wake up and say, okay, yesterday was yesterday. Now is now. See, it's always now. Now is now. Now is now. Now is now. And when you get in that habit and you start telling yourself this every day, you're not going to be able to go back to the old shit, because it's old shit. It's old repetitious shit that's already dead with you. And people that don't know how to change, that don't want to change, that don't think change is necessary, then they're not going to understand it. It's going to be foreign to them. It's going to be alien. It's going to feel awkward. And that's what it needs to do for people. And I don't know whether to say I get discouraged, because it's not a feeling of discouragement. It's a feeling of, my goodness, they just don't understand this how I understand this, but I can't force them, and I don't want to force them. I don't want to make people do what I do or how I do things, because you'll never do it how I do it. If you're your own individual, you're never going to do it how I do it. You're going to do it your way. This is all about ourselves. Are we our own enemy, or are we our best friend sometimes? And are we willing to call ourselves out when we're doing something to ourselves? It's like Charlie Sheen says in the movie Platoon. In the end, we did not fight the enemy, we fought ourselves. And that's what a lot of us are doing every single day. We're at war with ourselves. We're fighting ourselves. We're fighting our own demons instead of exercising our own demons. There is a big difference between fighting and exercising our thoughts and our thinking and our own demons, because we are the demons itself. We are the demons. You and I are the demon. All this shadow projecting, all this projecting, all of this saying, oh, there's people out to get me and these people are doing this and that. That is just you self-reflecting that back onto yourself. The way that you see God is how you see yourself. That's all that it is, man. Wake up. Wake up, because nobody else is going to tell you this. And I'm sorry to say, it's not bragging or boasting. There's just nobody on the internet that's going to tell you this. And why do you think that my channel is such a small channel? Why do you think that my videos are not popular? Because nobody is thinking this way for themselves, because they don't think there's anything there. Do you think I would be wasting my breath? Do you honestly think I would be wasting my breath if there wasn't something in this? If when I got off the camera, I was miserable when I got off the camera, or I was lying to myself. When I get off of the camera, I'm doing things that I'm not doing on camera. I'm making music, I'm writing, I'm learning things. I'm thinking differently. I'm taking walks. I'm drinking water. I'm drinking my coffee, and I'm doing stuff. I'm looking into stuff. And what I tell you is the energy that I absorb for myself. And every one of us can do this for ourselves. We just have to start thinking that way. That's all we have to do is change our thinking. Are you willing to change your thinking today? There is something in this for you in the meantime until the day we die. We all know that we're going to die. We all know we're going to get old. We all know that a lot of things are the way they are in life. We already know this, y'all. How many times can we keep telling ourselves these things? And I understand that you have to vent, like I have to vent. The way you do it is not going to be the way I do it. I understand that the way you express yourself is how you're expressing yourself. I understand those things. But are you self-reflecting? Are you looking at every single little tiny detail of your life and saying, okay, what's going on with this? Why do I do this? How does this keep happening? Or are you just completely oblivious to it all and you're just right away ready to point the finger? You're ready to judge everybody else. You're ready to just say it's everybody else's fault. Everything's wrong here. No, everything is not wrong here. Everything is not wrong here. That's what you're telling yourself, that everything's wrong. Yet again, you're thinking it, thinking it, thinking it, thinking it, thinking it, thinking it, thinking it. You know what Charles Manson said? I didn't have to do it. I thought it. I thought it, and they did that. That's what he said. I thought it. Now, I'm not condoning what he did. I'm just saying this is how dangerous thought can be. This is how easily you and I can be tricked by our own thoughts. And that's what I'd say. Learn to know both metaphorically Satan and God, good and bad, righteous and evil. Metaphorically, these symbols, learn to understand each one of them. Don't call yourself a Satanist or a Christian. Don't call yourself them labels. That's what ignorant people do. They label themselves. They put themselves in a category. That's what ignorant people do. That's what people that are still sleeping do. They label themselves. They say that I am this thing itself. No, you're not. It's a metaphor. It's a thing to help you along. It's a thing to help you see something. Then you move on from it. And that is the act of repentance, is coming to terms with something and moving on. See, we don't even realize what these words really mean and what the significance of them is and what it actually does and represents. Repentance is a thing where we simply move on from what we were doing because we seen it wasn't working, or we knew it was wrong, or we said this was my fault, or I shouldn't have did this, or that's something I don't want to do again, so I repent of it. Now I'm moving on. That's what repentance means. It's that simple. You get convicted of something, and see, God convicted me. I convicted myself. I reflected all these things that we are, how corrupt and evil we really are through and through. I've already looked at that in myself, and I came to terms with that side of myself. And I have a lovely side. I have a side that I'm in a good mood and everything's going well and I'm joyful. And then I have my side where I'm angry, and a side where I'm throwing a fit, and a side where I'm saying fuck everything. But I understand both of them sides. Do you understand both of your sides? This is not for nothing. Once you have this understanding, it's going to help you along a lot. It's going to help you help yourself. And that's what I promote on here, if anything, is us helping ourselves and for us to become our own artists to ourselves and show other people our lives as a living testimony unto ourselves. That's why I do it. For nothing else. Anything else that you're thinking is just extra baggage stuff. in our mind. I know for me it is, because I don't want to think of anything else. There's no reason to think of anything else. I don't need anything else but that. So I know I went on long here, but that's the way I do it. I can't help how I do it. I'm not trying to be something I'm not. I'm not trying to force it. I'm not attempting to prove anything. I'm just telling you how it is with things. I'm calling things out. I'm calling myself out, and I'm calling a lot of us out, because I don't think some of us are willing to do that. I am a voice for people that might not have a voice, but it doesn't make me the leader of your life. I am not in control of what you do. It's just simply those who are not there to do that. I'm willing to fill in that part for myself, because yet again, it all comes down to the individual person listening for themselves. It has nothing to do with me liking you or me agreeing with you or any of that stuff. It has to do with, did you get something for yourself from this? Did you understand something? Did it change something? Did it stir you up? Did it make you move? Did it make you think different? Did it get you out of stuckness? Did it do that? If it didn't do that, then I've wasted your time, and I've wasted my time with you, but I know I didn't waste my own time. I never waste my own time, because time is all that I have. And when you can see this for yourself, and you can start reflecting this upon yourself and looking back at you, your life is going to change. Your life is going to change. I'm telling you, with surrender and thinking that you are the image of what you think God is, that is your self-reflection. And when you think art, refuge, well-being, health, when you start resonating on these things, your life will change. There's no other thing that can happen but for you to change. It's impossible for you not to change if you're resonating on them things. But if you're resonating on all the other stuff, then you're going to remain in that place forever. You're going to be there as long as you stay there. Nothing's going to happen. Nobody's going to come. Nobody's going to stir you up. Everybody's just going to keep you there. Everybody's going to keep telling you the same things. It's, to me, that's lunacy. It's complete lunacy to me. And I'm calling the thinking lunacy. It's the thinking. It's not the me construct. It's the thinking construct. So anyway, y'all, I appreciate the support. I appreciate any donations on this channel. I don't make anything off of this. And take care of yourself. Later.